Hey everyone, my name is Joey Havoc. I am from ISEP Study Abroad. I am one of ISEP Student Services Coordinators. I have been invited here by your program director, Mandy Reinig, for Virginia Wesleyan to talk a little bit about the opportunities available at ISEP Study Abroad in the future. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. So go abroad with ISEP. Our sort of tagline here is we tell students that through ISEP you can live like a local. We have a very immersive approach to our programs with the sense that when you go abroad, you are seeing the country, the culture, the people, just as you would if you were a local to the area. Kind of moving forward, why go abroad with ISEP? You know, there's a lot of reasons why you might want to travel across international borders, you know, see new places, but also study abroad is this unique opportunity where you can advance your education in a different cultural context. You know, you see the ways that other people approach values and their own kind of approaches to life and philosophies. And you can do that when you're a student at a foreign university. If you are a language student, you can use this opportunity to hone your language skills. I personally was a French student back when I was an undergraduate, and I went to France for a semester, and I felt like I came back to America with like the beefiest of French skills. Because I, you know, had the opportunity to not only speak with French students, but also I lived with a host family and also took French courses taught by real French professors. Also, this is an opportunity to boost careers, your career field, your kind of trajectory, maybe understand a little more about what you're interested in. Kind of across the board, sort of the soft skills that employers want to see are, you know, these transferable skills like the ability to problem solve, the ability to communicate between different types of teams, different types of people. These are all things that you're going to have to practice while you're abroad. And I think especially when put in these sort of situations, this is very much a moment where students kind of test their skills in adapting. This is exactly the sort of skills that we promote while on our ISEP programs. Additionally, you know, because you will be enveloped in this sort of new world, you will certainly develop new interests and make lifelong friends while kind of pursuing those interests. So why specifically ISEP? Number one is that ISEP makes a concerted effort to be affordable. We believe that no barrier should keep you from studying abroad. So we understand that a lot of these programs can look very expensive. But the thing is that we have accessibility for 150 plus institutions in 50 plus countries, just for a very low overall cost when it comes to applying with ISEP specifically. And as I mentioned before, we aim to be immersive so that you can live like a local in a different country. But to talk, I'll get to that in a second. So first off, where can I go specifically? So as you can see in this little mini world map in the top left corner, we have a variety of different places you can go throughout South America. We have regions in Africa. We have most of Europe covered, I would say. China, South Korea, Japan, Australia, Indonesia, Malaysia. The list kind of goes on and on because we really do believe that students should not have any barriers in terms of seeing the world and meeting people of different cultures. We do have a variety of different options for students in terms of when they can go. So either in the spring and the fall, sometimes we have summer programs, or you can go for a full year if that's something that interests you from August to May. In terms of fields of study, you would probably guess that because of the vast variety of options that we have globally, you can study pretty much any major that you're interested in, receive credit to go back to your home university, and as well study either at the undergraduate or even graduate level if that is something that applies to you. So to talk a little bit about how ISEP Exchange works. ISEP Exchange is our main program that involves a exchange network of all these different universities that I talked about. The great thing with ISEP Exchange is that whatever you pay at home at Virginia Wesleyan, that works for ISEP. You only need to think about your Virginia Wesleyan tuition, housing, and meals as you would normally any other semester. You are able to transfer any financial aid that you are using. And in terms of ISEP fees, we only ask for an application fee of $100 and then what we call a placement fee of $395 when you are all set to go on your program. The way that this works is that you apply up to 10 different sites ranked by your preference using the program finder, which I will go through later in this presentation. We do have a variety of scholarships. We use the specifically for the ISEP network. We have the community scholarship, the Founders Fellowship, as well as the NetCade scholarship. All of these scholarships are specifically focused for students who do display a certain amount of financial need, but also for students who have specific goals in mind when they are approaching their study abroad. You know, with ISEP, and particularly our scholarship review, we look for students that are specifically hoping to advance their own career goals, perhaps their language learning goals, or just trying to look at study abroad as a true opportunity to advance something within themselves. I also do want to mention that there are also external scholarships always available if price is still a concern for you. There is the Gilman Scholarship, the Bourne Awards, and Diversity Abroad. All of these options are certainly something that I recommend students to look at. Specifically, the Bourne Awards are a really great opportunity if students are interested in language learning. They're geared towards anyone who is hoping to learn another language or advance their language study to help them in their career. And then Diversity Abroad is an organization that is very dear to my heart. It specifically advances opportunities for students that are in groups that are typically underrepresented in the American context. So this can mean that you're from a lower economic status. This can mean you are from a underrepresented racial identity, gender identity, religious identity. The list kind of goes on and on. So I really recommend for students to look through those scholarships as well. And really quickly, I did want to talk about the ISEP promise. The idea that we're truly not a for-profit institution. We're truly focused towards helping out students. We have a variety of risk-free policies that we have instated in the event that something disrupts the continuation of your program. Because we do live in this world right now where there's a lot of changes in result of the pandemic, ISEP is committed to offering you a new placement in another suitable program if your original program is suspended. We are able to defer your placement to a later semester in that same program that you were originally placed in, or we are happy to provide a full refund of your program placement fee, which is that $395. We are also truly committed to health and safety. I sit on our health and safety task force. We partner with the On Call International, which is a global leader in international security support that is available 24/7 in the event of any emergency. In addition, we do require that all ISEP students have health insurance for the duration of their program. They have support on the ground at their host institution. And you have an ISEP Student Services Coordinator, which is my role, to support you while you're abroad if you have any questions. We do also have an FAQ sheet for spring 2021 in the future, and we will be continuing to create those sort of FAQs on our website for future programs as well. To follow through, if you want to kind of track, we have some students who are abroad now, even in fall 2020, or students who are abroad in the future, to kind of get an idea of what your experience might look like. I highly recommend connecting with us on a variety of different social media channels. So lastly, you know, if you are interested, I want you to meet with your study abroad advisors. Mandy Reinig, she was my study abroad advisor once upon a time, and she's a fantastic resource for you all. Ask me or any of our ISEP staff if you need any help finding a program. And then finally, just go to isep.org/apply. We try to make the process extremely easy and accessible for all walks of students. So we are really excited in seeing your application. So as I mentioned before, I did want to spend a second to share what it looks like to kind of look through the program finder. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly. So if you go to the ISEP program finder, what you'll see is a first pop-up that says find a program, and they'll ask you for your home university, see what programs are available for you. You'll just need to type in Virginia Wesleyan, and you'll see that from the drop-down. Click the orange arrow here. And you'll see that even at the top, you see that there are 182 programs found for Virginia Wesleyan. First things first, you'll look at the top filters to see kind of how you want to filter down the program availability. So you don't have to use all of these filters, but what you can do, say you're looking for the fall semester in 2021, you can pick a specific region. Say you're looking at somewhere in Europe, and you can choose this option, kind of where to if you like to, but it's not necessary. So I'm gonna choose France because I advise for France. You can always pick a field of study if that's something that you are specifically interested in. And then you can also specify which language you want to choose as well. Obviously, you might see different results if you choose different ones. For instance, there's not a lot of whole Cantonese programs in France, so I'm going to leave that blank for now. I also want to show you the more filter option as well. So you can see that you can even filter further by your academic level, the features on your program. So this involves programs that would include perhaps an internship as part of the program, volunteer opportunities, service learning opportunities, community engagement, or even some have additional excursions. You can enter in your specific academic qualifications, such as how many language semesters are required before entering the program. Sometimes if you're looking at a more intense language program, you'll want to have some language skills under your belt first. You don't need to worry about the TOEFL because that's for students who are mostly coming into the US or studying English as a first language. And then you can also enter your GPA or a minimum GPA to make sure that you will be okay in terms of that requirement as well. And then finally, you can also filter by campus size, housing type, any special needs you might have. And then lastly, I do want to take a second to explain what this chance of placement means. So as you can see, scroll down a little more. As you can see here, there are varying levels of chances of placement for an exchange program. And that's because through ISEP Exchange, we try to help all students get an equal shot at getting in their programs. But as you can imagine, there are some programs that are much more popular than others. Specifically, I advise for programs in Australia, and the programs near Sydney are always the most popular. So those are typically listed as most competitive or very limited. But there are other programs that are still quite as good, and what I consider as kind of the hidden gems. For instance, we have the University of Canberra in Australia that sometimes students don't look at as much, and it actually has a fair or good chance of placement. So when constructing your program lists, I really recommend choosing a variety of programs that have different chances of placement, so as to best make sure that you are being placed into a program that you not only have researched, but also that's somewhere you would feel comfortable in going. So you can apply these filters.
Joey, I have a question while you're applying the filters. One question
Sure.
I get quite frequently is, how is the chance of placement decided? So how, obviously, like we know Australia is, very popular. So it kind of makes sense. But how is a chance of placement decided, between something that's good, very limited, things like that?
Yep, that's a really good chance, or a really good question. Let's see. Actually, I'm gonna bring you to a different page on our website because it does a really good job of explaining what these different categories mean. If you go and you can just search on your general Google search, ISEP chances of placement. First thing I want to say is that they can change from one semester cycle to the next. And essentially what this is projected by ISEP staff to determine how much general space is available. So you'll see as on every single program page, there's always a place that says chances of placement, most competitive. But we do have this really helpful guide that sort of explains the rankings here. So an excellent chance of placement would dictate or would refer to that there are very strong numbers of outbound student exchange activity. So to explain further, because ISEP Exchange is a network, we do rely on the amount of students that leave a certain institution so that we can then place students into that institution. So for instance, I'll just keep on using the Australia example. If we have in one semester a huge amount of students leaving on exchange one semester, then that would probably raise the chances of placement. There would be more places available. However, because we almost always have so many students who do apply to go into Australia, that amount of placement is significantly decreased. So I would definitely recommend checking out these chance of placement descriptions if you have further questions about that. But essentially what we kind of look at here is the sort of reciprocal nature of how an exchange would work. If we have more students leaving institution to go study, then we can put more students there.
Absolutely makes sense. Now, if a student really wanted a place that's like very limited, how could they like potentially increase their chances of getting placed at that location?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So typically what I would say is, what we say for our ISEP students is do the best you can to research the academic fields of study, the courses available at an institution, to make sure that you are specifically fit for going to this university. What we really try to do here at ISEP is match students with their academic matches as best as possible, so that students, when they are on their programs, can succeed as best as possible.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
One last question about placement. So say I was choosing maybe 5 programs, what would you suggest being like a good variety of like chances of placement? Like, should I have only like one that's very competitive? Should I choose a few that are fair? What would you recommend?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first off, I'll say that you can list up to 10. So the more programs you have available on your application, then kind of the better chance you have of making sure that you get placed in one that you already know about. But essentially what I would say is that I always encourage students to kind of shoot for the stars, and put a most competitive option on your list if that's really a university that you are dead set on going to. However, I do recommend maybe trying to limit that most competitive option to just one program. After that, I would make sure that you have at least 2, 3, or more options that are good, very good, or excellent. And then after that, feel free also to put options that are limited or very limited. So to kind of reiterate, you can put one program that is most competitive, maybe 2 or 3 that are fair or very limited, but then have at least 2 to 3 options that are very good, good, or excellent.
Great, thank you.
Sure. Just to kind of go back to where we were with the program filter. So I applied for the fall semester of 2021 in France, and you'll see that we have drawn up a list here of all the different institutions that are available. You can look at this in a variety of different ways. You can also look at the detail view. And this kind of gives you a little more detailed look of how the programs are listed. So Ex-Marseille is a really great and involved member, and you can see that they have actually multiple different programs for depending on students' interests. So this program is specific for international business and economics. It is taught in English. It's an ISEP exchange. It has a fair chance of placement. Application deadline, that is something that you probably don't need to worry about as a Virginia Wesleyan, as I know that you have your own specific deadlines. So you'll want to make sure you adhere to those. And as you can see, because it's ISEP exchange, it has home university tuition. And then I also want to show you the list view as well, because I think that is helpful. And so you can kind of just see a little more, a different view of how the program finder works. And so if you go ahead and click on the program, what you'll first see is the kind of overview of the university and of the town of Aix-en-Provence. You'll see like how many students are on campus and some more kind of specific information about the kind of just the general university. But then at the bottom, what you want to focus on is the different programs that are available, as I mentioned before. So if you are a business student, for instance, you can go ahead and click on that. And you will see some more detailed information about this specific program. The things that I want students to mostly pay attention to are like this information about course descriptions. For most American students, you might be looking at courses available in English. So you can click on these different links to see what programs are available in English. And then you can also use these drop downs to look a little more about the specific academic requirements. So GPA, we talk about if you're a language student, LPR, which is basically what level of language you are at. And this is, you will need a faculty advisor or professor to rank or rate your language level. And then any special application instructions that may be available to or pertinent to the student. And then finally, there's some more specific information about the semester itself, looking at chances of placement, how many classes you might have a week, how many class hours you might have a week, and then some information about your housing and your meals. So we try to do a pretty good job of kind of going through all the details there so that students can have as best an idea as possible about what their programs are going to look like. Let's see. So with that,
Great.
That really concludes my presentation. So thanks so much for having us.
Great, thank you. That was very informative. Really like the demonstration of the site. I think that it's very helpful for our students to see, and love the explanation on the chances of placement, because I think I get that question the most about how that works. And, you know, Destiny asked a great question about, you know, how many you should pick, because as we know, anything you list is fair game when it comes to the ranking. So I think that is very useful information. Destiny, do you have any last minute questions for Joey?
Yeah, one other question. What would you recommend in terms of if a student is interested in internships or kind of service learning components? I know there was like a filter option for that. Is there a way to find out more information? Would that be through like clicking on that specific program and then maybe a website, or contacting someone from ISEP to find out more?
Yeah, definitely. So ISEP has a lot of different opportunities for students. It's like even through the exchange option, if you are going through that route, I would definitely recommend using that filter option to see if there's any internships sort of built into the program already. The other thing I would totally recommend is if you do find a program that you're interested in, and that has an internship component part of it, reach out to ISEP staff to learn more about what those options are. Because we have students that kind of find a lot of different options kind of as they go on programs. And as you can imagine, they also change very frequently from semester to semester. So I would say start early, try to kind of explain what you're interested in, and we can work with our coordinators in the host country to hopefully find an available internship volunteer option for you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Sure.
Even if, as a follow-up to Destiny's, even if they don't list like an internship or something, would the host institution be able to help the student find like a volunteer opportunity at that site?
Yeah, 100%. Our host coordinators are asked, and it's kind of part of their job to make sure that they can connect international students with the opportunities on the ground. And I would also say too that something that they do very well is connecting them with the career office on campus. That people specifically focus on helping students on campus, find these opportunities, or connecting them with international student organizations where you can kind of meet other students and see what they're up to. There's a lot of different ways to sort of get involved in those sort of opportunities.
Great, thank you. Any other questions, Destiny?
I don't think so.
Great. Thank you so much, Joey, for providing a wealth of information. We'll make sure we put some links and other contact information at the bottom of this video. And of course, if you ever have any questions, you can stop by the Lighthouse or make an appointment, and we'll be happy to discuss your options with you. So thank you again, Joey, for taking the time out of your day to present this information to us. And we hope everyone has a great day.
Yeah, thank you.